Hi, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Let's Chat with Tanya Lightborn. I am Tanya, your host, and I am super excited to welcome Michaela Munnings. Today, we're going to chat about boundaries, which is something we've never really talked about. We know in our everyday lives as women, as mothers, as entrepreneurs, as business owners, we set boundaries with our loved ones, our families, at work, but we never quite talked about it in a forum like this. And so I brought Michaela on, and in chatting with her, that was the common denominator I found. So today we're going to chat with a business owner, a giver. She's a boy mom. She's a planner to the stars. I'm super excited to welcome Michaela Munnings.
Hi, everyone. I'm excited for you to have me on your show, Tanya. I'm so that we could chat about everything, like you said, boundaries, all of those good stuff. Boy, mom, oh gosh. You haven't gotten there yet, but
Yet?
so I'm excited.
I'm a girl mom. That's shop
Okay, so
closed.
the shop is closed. All right.
Shop closed. I live vicariously through you, for sure.
Okay.
For
So
sure.
I'm excited to chat about all of the things that you would have mentioned earlier. So let's do it.
Yeah, I'm ready. So we're gonna dive right in. We have a jam-packed episode
Okay.
for your viewers, for your tribe that's watching, for our tribe that's watching. And so today, like I said, we're gonna chat about boundaries. Before we chat about boundaries, let's chat a little bit about Sage because he's gonna hit the number 5 mark this year.
Listen,
So that's exciting.
I can't believe it, Tanya. It feels like, I know that when most persons had their kids, they would always say, cherish the little moments. They grow big so quickly. And I just thought that was just something cliche that everybody who had kids just wanted to say to a new mom, or it's like, it's just one of those old sayings that we just pop out like. And as he grew, I was so surprised, like, oh my gosh. I
Wow.
can't believe it. I feel like it was just the other day that I was literally walking through the office at Commonwealth Brewery, allowing persons to go past me up the stairs because I would take a little longer.
Yeah.
And literally, I worked up to the day before I had him.
Oh wow.
And so I was climbing 2 flights of stairs, and I was getting it done. I was doing my events, all those good stuff. And yes, so this September he is going to be 5, and I'm proud of myself for being able to navigate this far in the parenting journey.
Yeah.
But I'm also proud that I kept a promise to myself, and I made it in front of friends and family that he would have major birthdays at 1, 5, and 10. And in between, that little cupcake, maybe a little cake,
Yeah.
a little sprinkle, but no party. And my friends was like, okay, yeah,
Right.
this is your first child. We know you. We know you extra. So but I stuck true to my promise. And so this year we're doing it big for his 5th birthday.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And if COVID taught us nothing else, I mean, live your life, baby.
Go big or go home, eh?
Right, and celebrate.
And we was home for so long. So
Listen.
So he's not aware of what's all gonna happen, but we're gonna.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's I'm keeping everything in theme. How I go. It's a 5-day trip. So
5-day trip for the 5-year-old.
Yes.
Any more 5s with that?
Yes, 4 friends will come in. So 4 plus 1 is 5.
Your friends were right. Your friends were right. Oh, do you think Sage is gonna be extra?
He came out extra. So, and then sometimes I find myself telling a girlfriend, could you believe what Sage did today? ... And we're talking, and she's like,
Well,
wow, I really wonder where he got that from. And I said, I know, right? And she's like, no, I wasn't. I was being sarcastic. Like, that's you in a little mini form, just in a boy.
Right.
So we have these conversations all the time. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I see it a little bit. But sometimes I'm like, I don't know. I don't know where he got that from.
Oh my goodness.
but he
Yeah,
is.
that sounds about right.
A lot of persons say
So,
he's a spitting replica of me, but some days I see it, and sometimes
mhm,
I'm like, okay, I don't know.
yeah. What I love about this show is that prior to our episodes, we always chat and we always talk about your story,
Yeah,
and the things that matter. And one of the things that you would have said to me that you've owned is your single parenting journey.
yes,
And I mean, so many gems you dropped just alone surrounding that part of our conversation. And so I want you, I guess, to speak to that a little bit, speak about that part of your story, because so many times we hear those two words together, single and parenting, and it has such a negative connotation, right?
hmm
And I feel like you've taken that, and not that it's easy, because by no means is it easy, but I feel like you've taken that and you've kind of flipped it on its head and you just ran with it. So I want you to share with our viewers, like, just your whole perspective on single parenting versus being a single mom, like just your experience and your story.
Well, first of all, I'm glad that you said in the latter part of your question to talk about single parenting and single mom. So
Yeah,
I want to clarify something for our viewers
yeah,
because a lot of persons, even some persons that I may know or just, be acquainted with,
mm-hmm.
they identify as a single parent. And I want to clarify that there's a vast difference between single parent and single mother or single father. So a single mother or a single father is actually a person that maybe the child resides with solely them, and so they're communicable. They have a good co-parenting relationship with the mother, between the mother and father, but it's just that the three individuals, the child, the mother, and the father, do not coexist in the same home. Maybe they're unmarried, or it could be a divorce or something of that sort, but they're not in one unit together daily. So those are single parents. So you may have where you're able to take the child by the father, or this one has visitation. It depends if it ever went before a court or something. But you have support from both ends, but it's just not in the same living arrangements on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. So that's a single mom or a single dad. Now, a single parent, listen, that's the ultimate, and it could be male or female, so it could be mommy or daddy,
Correct,
but the
correct.
whole basis is this child lives with you.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that they do, you are the nurturer, you are the accountant, you are the taxi driver, you
Yeah,
are the sole guardian, the sole responsibility for this child 24/7, 365. And
yeah.
so that could come as a result of maybe you being widowed. That
Mm-hmm.
could be as a result of that. One of the parents may have passed away, but
Mm-hmm.
in my instance, and I'm not bashful to talk about it. I
Yeah,
am just a single parent in that I take care of everything that concerns my son every day, 100% on
yeah,
my own.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And again, there's nothing to be ashamed of there. It's a part of the journey. It's a part of your story. And what I find is what we joked about. If you control the narrative,
Yeah.
there's nothing anybody
Right.
can.
So you can't talk my business if I give it to you.
If I give
So
it to you first.
if I put it out there first, it's not a rumor, it's not gossip.
Yeah,
I gave it to
yeah,
you. And just, I mean, initially I'd be honest with you, Tanya, I was embarrassed
yeah,
because I was one of those persons, and I'm not a judgmental person by nature or anything of that sort, but I
yeah,
remember clearly, like, I would say maybe, 10 years ago, 5, 7, 10 years ago, I would be like, how's she get in that situation?
yeah,
You don't think she was smarter than that? You don't think she knew better than that? All the signs was there, and I'm saying it to myself, so I'm not casting judgment as though I'm gossiping or anything. I
yeah.
look at the situation from the outside in, and I say, and boy, Tonya, I say, Michael, that ain't gonna never be you. That's one thing I
Right,
know. You
right,
smarter than that. You
right.
your parents gave you a good education. You have some street smart in you too, so you ain't gonna let nobody play you like that. Like, you smarter
Right.
than that.
Yeah,
And so for me, I was like, child, sis ain't gonna ever be me.
right.
And
Never say
in
never.
2018, September, this me. Oh, hi, hi. I had to look at myself. Hi, hello.
Is
This
this
would
you?
never, is this you? Because you
Yeah, yeah.
this
But
would never be you. And
mhm,
so one of the things for me is that I initially I was like, I can't believe this.
yeah,
And at some point, I was like, "You think my mommy shame?" Because she didn't come out and say it or like, that she was
right.
disappointed. Of course, any a loving, strong parent wants you to do it in the right order. Find your mate and set and come together and settle down and create your union and expand your family. And
Yeah,
that's what all parents want for us. Even if, and I find too, especially when they would have had children out of wedlock,
right.
they want you to
They
do it
want that
the
for
right
you.
way.
Yeah,
And so she never really showed me anything different in that. My mom, she never, you know, was showed disappointment or cast judgment or anything. She was
yeah,
supportive, but at the same time, that was something that I was holding in and I was embarrassed. Okay.
yeah.
Because here, and the thing is too, when you have, especially when you're in a professional environment and
Hmm.
people see you in a certain light, and so they're like, "Girl, what?
Yeah,
Her baby daddy don't take care of the child." And so for me, and that's one thing I wanted to say too. I use that here just jokingly with you, but I would hate like if someone say something about baby daddy or refer to me as a baby mama. I'm like, no,
no,
even if I had like, he's the father of my child. It is what it
yeah,
is. I don't like that baby daddy, baby mama connotation. It for one, it just sounds, I don't know, it just sounds ghetto to me.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it like, no, I ain't nobody baby mama. He's the daddy, I'm the mummy. So we're
yeah,
the father and the mother of the child. That's just what
yeah,
it
yeah.
is. And for the longest, Tanya, I dealt with that. I carried that. And one day I just left that. I don't know if I just left it wherever it was. And
Yeah.
it didn't come in my house anymore. It didn't come in my head anymore. And I didn't pick it back up anymore. I just
Hmm.
left it alone. I
Yeah.
took it for what it is because I think one of the things that I would have shared with you when we were kind of just talking through this, what this session would look like, is that a friend of mine said to me, "Listen, Michaela, if you can do this, it's just you, the child, and Jesus, because
Yeah.
mommy, baby, daddy, maybe. You're not in a marriage, there's no obligation. So
Right.
if he comes along at some point, great. But
Hmm.
right now, if you're deciding that you're going to do this is what you're going to do, it's
Yeah.
you and God." And she also said to me, "Listen, if you focus on the absent parent, you'll never be the present one." And so that stuck with me until I got it. Like
Yeah.
it didn't, I heard it, but I was like, "But you don't understand,
Right.
And so after I had to deal with my healing process and that
Hmm.
that journey, I was
Hmm.
like, okay, this me,
Yeah.
this is mom. I'm gonna rock this motherhood.
Hmm.
And that's just what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I'm not sure if you would, I mean, I would have known you at that point, but I launched an initiative called Single Moms Rock a few years ago.
Mm.
And
Okay.
so what it was that it's around Mother's Day. And to be honest, it kind of faded for the last 2 years, I think, with COVID and then just kind of
Hmm.
navigating so many different stuff. And then work kind of got a little busier. So I
Yeah.
did not execute for 2020, we were in a lockdown. So I didn't
Right.
execute this for the last 3 years. And so it's something that I'm excited to tell you that I'm bringing back for this Mother's
Oh,
Day.
that's fantastic.
Yeah. So what that initiative was, of course, it was birthed by me being a single mom. And I said, listen, I want to identify these women who I would allow the public to say, hey, I want to nominate so and so as a single mom because this is what she's does. And I feel
Yeah.
like she's like this super mom. She's still rocking it in business. She's still rocking her career and she still raises the kids in excellence.
Yeah.
And so I really want to highlight her for this distinction. Initially, it just started out because I pitched the idea to my friends who were business owners. They just said, okay, yes, I would sponsor you. So I think my first year I had like a massage from Skin Solutions. Um, Sasha LaPache, she gave a makeover. And I think there was I think Mitzi from Signature Style, she gave a full outfit. So when the viewers voted on the
Hmm.
single mom of their choice, she would
Okay.
literally be showered with these gifts in time for Mother's Day.
Oh,
So it was just me
wow.
reaching out to friends and saying, listen, this is what I want to do.
Mhm.
And they hopped on board and they supported me.
Wow.
But as the years went by, because I did it about maybe 4 years,
Mhm.
it didn't start off with vendors that were
Okay.
single moms. So I like 2 years in and clicked to me, what if I make sure that the prizes come from single moms as well? And so I kind of like moved away from one or two persons who had supported from the beginning just because
Mhm.
I told them, this is, I wanted to kind of shift it.
Yeah.
But it would not, the prizes would now come from mom business owners who are single moms. Like I think that
Wow.
makes for an even greater story.
Yeah.
And
That's
so
amazing.
yes, so it's single moms rock, and it went really well for the time while I did it.
Wow. No, that's awesome. So a couple minutes, well, a minute or two back, you talked about motherhood, right? And I always say, ain't no hood like it. But
None,
while being in
none.
this
You see my face.
while being in this hood, it's also important to have a village,
Mhm,
right? And
mhm.
I know you and I both share that same sentiment, because of the importance. How critical has that been for you?
So, Tanya, let me tell you something. When Sage was about to turn 1, of course, I knew everybody. I think we all kind of, especially our more modern parents, we focus on a themed party. But can I tell you that as much as I, had the branded gift boxes for the kids and all the aesthetics and stuff, that party in my mind, as every dollar that I spent, and I'm like, oh, this is getting expensive. I was
Yeah.
like, this is for my village. So
Ah, okay.
that it wasn't for me, it really wasn't like, okay, yes, I'm celebrating the fact that this is a milestone, this is the first birthday. Boy,
Yes.
y'all let me walk out the hospital with this child, so it's real. So I had
Yeah.
him for 12 months. Yeah, okay, so we doing this. And so it was really a celebration of that first year of life. But can I tell you, the village was just whew, critical. And
Yeah.
so I made sure that, of course, while the kids had the games, the bouncing castle, the
Mhm.
the stuffed animals, because I think I did Wild One. Yeah, I did Wild One.
Okay. Yes.
And so,
That feels like yesterday. Wow.
hello. And so, but listen to me. The food was for, and the additional drinks for the adults. That was just to say thank you. I
Yeah.
really, really couldn't have done it. I think one of the things that's so important to me is that, well, when I look at it in retrospect, my dad is retired. He's a
Mhm.
retired pilot. My mom, she still works. And so I have some friends that would have young kids, but their parents are already in retirement or
Mhm.
they're home. And so they got that, oh, you could take him by Grammy, or he doesn't have to go to daycare right now because we have, but I found that so many of my persons were working. And so but I had an aunt that she was self-employed. And
Okay.
so Tanya, she's known, she's trying to get away from this, but I'm like, why don't you just embrace this calling? She is known because she's been self-employed for years. And so
Yeah.
she's known to be the one that keeps your child for
Oh
the first couple
wow.
of months when you come. Well, once you're done with maternity, she is that
Yes.
aunt. And so I waited, right? So I'm like, I did maternity for 4 months and I waited until like 3 months and a week. And I was like, hey, Annie Bev, how you doing? And she's like, where's this going? And I said, I just wanted to know if you'd do me the honor. And she's like, y'all think I don't get tired, eh? I said, well, and then she was like, I retired from this. And I'm like, but you can't say that because every other niece and
Has
nephew
been
has had
there.
the opportunity, but me. This
Yes.
is my first. So
Ah.
I pulled the
Boy,
guilt.
that's
Yes,
a guilt
my
trip.
my sister has 3 kids, and
Yes.
so I didn't burden you with 3 kids. So this my turn. Like, give me a chance. And so she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna think about it, and then I'll have to ask my uncle, her husband. He's deceased now, by the way. But she said, and we call him Unky. I have to ask Unky. So I said, okay. She came back. Unky said, you don't really have nothing much to do, and you need to keep Sage. And it was exciting, I think, because we have a lot of girl children in our family.
Okay.
And so
Okay.
he works, my uncle works, but
Yeah.
his kids are grown. They're all adults. Like when I say adults, over 21. So
Yeah.
he was like coming home to a little boy that he could,
Oh.
build and play.
Yeah.
Yes. He's like, you're
Oh,
doing this.
that's so
Yes. You're going to
exciting.
do this. And so I know she was just like, like I circumvent the system. But listen to me, Tony, that was a blessing. So I was on
Oh,
maternity. I had said September 2018. I went back to work. So October, November, December. I think I went back to work maybe late January. And she kept Sage from January to January. So she had him from January 2019 to January 2020.
yeah.
And then he started a daycare. It was close to work. It was very clean, very nice. I'd gotten recommendations. And he
Yeah.
started a daycare in the Stapleton area in February of 2020. And of course, that was short-lived
Of course.
because
Of
we went
course.
into the pandemic. And so
Wow.
but that
Oh,
that
that's
was
so
so important
exciting.
for me that she could step in and help. And then I think next to that would be my circle of girlfriends. I can't listen to me. I would not have done it. I would have been like, drop me off over there. Let's go find somebody that really wanted the baby,
Yeah.
and we could be good. I
I
could
love
not
that,
have done it
man.
without them. I'm telling you, because
That's
there
a
were
lot.
days when I'm like, even as something as simple as breastfeeding, Tony, I was very depressed about that.
Yeah.
I was one of those persons that was reading the books. I enrolled on the app Baby Center, so I was counting down the time, the weeks, what to expect. And one of those things was that I wanted to exclusively breastfeed, but it just didn't work for me. And so I cried. I cried many nights, just holding him, having him latched to the breast, and he
Yeah.
wasn't getting enough. It wasn't coming. The
Didn't
milk was
work. Yeah.
producing. I got a lactation consultant, and it still didn't work for me. And so I cried about that. I was depressed about that because I wanted him to get this milk. And so after like 2.5 months he got some of it. After two
Yeah.
and a half months of not being able to exclusively breastfeed, I just owned the fact that I would have had to transition fully to the formula. And I think a problem that we have as women, we say that, okay, listen, this is what it is, but we carry it. The minute I said, you know what, Michaela, you're unable to breastfeed, but you are able to purchase formula. Look at the
Look how
blessing.
you shifted.
Yes. And so the
Yeah.
minute I did that, the guilt drop, I stopped having like the sleepless nights or the anxiety about the breastfeeding. And I just embraced being able to afford to nourish my son.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's it's like a glass half empty, half full
Mm-hmm.
mentality. So you said that
Definitely.
half full. Um, and that's just what it is. But it does help when you have a village.
Yeah.
So and all it's so interesting that all of these things, our conversation evolved into
Yep.
when you so motherhood and single parenting and everything that comes along with that, the importance of having a village, and then we talked about juggling and outsourcing
Child, listen to me.
and the guilt or
And
non-guilt associated with that.
trust me, I used to take all of the comments that I got and they would sit with me, but not, ma'am, ma'am, you can't, you ain't nothing you can say to me right now. I just let it roll off my back and I'm still going to outsource it because
Yes.
there have been times when I'm just like, I think COVID really that was just the
The
doing
catalyst.
all
Yeah.
and all. I
Yeah.
mean, we were stuck in the house for what, 9 months
Mhm.
almost. And then even after that,
Yeah, we
um,
were still
I went home.
curfews and
Yeah, I think I went home
everything.
in March 2020 and I didn't return to work in the office fully until March 2022. So, ma'am, I was over everything. Now, there is one household chore that I absolutely love, and any of my close friends would tell you this. They'd be like, girl, you washing again? You washing again?
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, Sonia, but washing is therapeutic for me. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know. I could sit there, I could wait for the rinse cycle. At the spin, I'm standing up waiting for it to stop. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know what it is. I'm squashing out the little makeup residue in the collar. I
Yeah.
love washing. But
Wow.
things that I would say are non-negotiables for me. I don't iron. I do not iron. My mom, I think she tainted me as a child
I was
with
about
it.
to say
Yeah.
childhood trauma.
Yeah. Every Sunday, she would have like I guess that Rubbermaid bin.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, the gallon, the 18-gallon bin.
Yeah.
She would put that on the side of her, set up the ironing board at chest level. She's sitting in the the armchair,
In
and
front of the TV?
in front of the TV every Sunday after we had dinner. Trust me, she moves when the last shirt, pants, whatever in that bin is gone. I used to walk past her, look at her like,
Never.
no. Now, let's get back to being judgmental now, because you say never, but trust me, that was one of those things. I was like, you ain't got to worry about me. It will never be me. And I mean, she there 2 o'clock, 8 o'clock, sometimes Sunday night, she just finish it, and I say, no, ain't no way.
What? So
No,
whose clothes does she? Is she?
all of us, yes. It was at the time. So at the time it was just my older sister, myself, my mom, and my stepdad, her husband. So she was ironing all of our clothes. I don't know. I don't think it was really his clothes, because he was on the defense force, and they like their things.
That's a different level.
Antonia, them clothes look like they put it on and then put the starch on. So he used to iron his own stuff. But I think like his regular, cotton polo shirts would have been in that basket. Yeah. And he did not move. And let me tell you, I looked at that and I said, Michaela, no. Wouldn't be you. And so when I got like older, 18 and 19, I had my real job, my first real job. I had another aunt that she didn't work at all. She was just staying at home and all that good stuff. And so she irons really well. And so I asked her, I said, Auntie, you mind doing some ironing for me? And she was like, sure, no problem. And she just was like, bring the clothes whenever you bring them, I'll iron them. Wow. So it just started off like that. And I was like, okay, but I work in, so I'm gonna give you something, Auntie, because you're not, it was therapeutic for her. Just how I enjoyed washing, she enjoyed ironing. And so it started to be just an exchange of, okay, this basket is just give me something for it and whatever. And so she did that for me for years up until her passing. So trust me, if I hadn't been doing it for years and on end like that, I would have probably had to iron. But even now that she's gone, I found a young lady and she irons my clothes. She comes bi-weekly, and it is what it is. Persons who judge me, I'm just like, okay, but my clothes iron.
You are not ironing. You're gonna outsource what you can.
Yeah. And another thing for me too is like just being able to be comfortable, Tanya. I think our parents made it. I told my mom, I said, you make it look so good when we were growing up. But now that I have to cook, clean, wash, prep clothes, pack a school bag, even though that takes like 3 minutes, Tanya, do you know how crazy that could be every morning? And then I realized at some point in the journey, I was like, hold on, you got to check the bag after school too.
Correct.
One day I went to put something in Sage bag, and there was like the fruits he didn't eat from musty 2 days. And I was like, oh, but okay, Michael, you're going to start cleaning out the bag. And so parenting for me, Tanya, it was so funny because I would tell my girlfriend, Valanda, and she would be laughing at me like, girl, like you're really just figuring this out as you go. And so, yes, I do believe strongly, without going outside of living above your means, if you can afford to outsource it. And another a mom that I look up to, that's a friend of mine, I know that you know her, Stacy Campbell Marshall. Listen to me, she is the queen of telling me, Michaela, if you could get help, she will tell anyone that she'll tell a stranger on the street. Miss Tisha is her life source, her housekeeper. So she always told me, if you could afford it, get it. Now, if you can't, then you have to maneuver around it. But she said, whatever area of your life that you are struggling in and you can't afford to get help, do so. And so, man, I was like, Charles, no to the ironing. And it's some things that I just put off until you could get to it the following week. Because I had ADD about a clean house. Like I had, Monk? You remember Monk off of USA? So I had a Monk disorder about a clean house. And I was like cleaning the same area repeatedly within a week. And I found that was so exhausting. That was so tiring. And I'm like, okay, if Tanya and Sherrod come over and the toys on the floor, that's just what it is.
Because you have a toddler.
I have a toddler.
Or a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-year-old.
Correct.
If my friends cannot accept or understand what this is my life.
It's my life. But
So
I was
might
trying
have
to
to
give
step
it
over
that
Toy or two.
perfection, I guess that perfection side of it. You know, you see people on Instagram who have 2 and 3 kids, but their house look like Mr. Clean resides there. Like he has a bedroom there. And so I just be like, this is messy. And then I was like, Sage don't even understand what I'm trying to say because this boy ain't even talking yet. And all he wants to do is play. And so this is his
That's it.
corner. And if it's messy today, it'll get clean eventually. And so
Yeah.
that's what I had to accept.
Yeah, and not only that, what we had to, or at least what I had to learn, and by extension, every woman, is that you have to give
Mhm.
yourself grace. Like,
Yeah.
you're
You
doing the
have,
best
you
that
have
you
to.
can.
You have to. I had to figure that out as I went because then I thought like I thought that the thoughts that were going on inside of my head, I thought that you were judging me. I thought that my mom would judge me. Like the
Yeah,
things that I was thinking, like, why is this here? Why is it in
yeah,
the street? I'm like, okay, well, somebody comes in this door right now, they're gonna judge me. And
yeah,
so I was not giving myself the grace that I needed. And I'm so glad that I eventually caught on and
yeah,
adopted it. And then I was able to now, okay, now I could give that advice to a friend that just had a child
yeah.
because I had to learn it. I had to accept it for what it is and I had to grow into it. And so
Wow.
coming out of the gate, sometimes I think we feel that, like I told you, I was doing the baby center app and reading all these books. And so we feel like we got it, but there's
Yeah,
no manual to
no,
parenting.
no, not at all.
The key to
You,
parenting is you have to parent. And
yes,
so you parent at different stages, at different
yes,
levels, at different speeds throughout
yes,
the journey. And so that's
yes.
what I had to really learn, really adjust, and just,
Just keep it
that.
moving.
Some days I'd be out here winging it. And some days I'd be out here like, yes,
I got this. Exactly.
parents
Yeah,
of the
because
day. And then
it
another day I'm like, I didn't do this good. Like, so listen, it's a journey. So I don't want
it
people to
is.
feel the way that I felt, so overwhelmed, so constantly doing this, trying to take care of the next, trying to keep this place clean. Listen, this is what it is for today. And they're gonna be like I told the other day, I told a friend I wanted to be that mom that made the sandwiches for lunch with the shapes. And then I was like, why you buy these cutters? Why you buy these cutters? Because sometimes you may have to grab the peanut butter and the jam and take it to the car with the knife, with the bread. That's the reality. And you got to be in the front of the school making the sandwich. So
Correct.
why did you buy
You don't even know.
a kangaroo sandwich shaped cutter? You're not making kangaroos in the morning with Sage who screams and cries to bathe every day. How are you making
Every day.
every
Every day.
I'm like little boy. School is every day except for Saturday and Sunday. Why are we going through this every morning?
Don't worry. One day you're gonna wake up and it's gonna be he's gonna not cry and you'll be like, oh my goodness, I remember the days he used to cry.
I was doing it wrong all along, Tanya, because I was bathing him with like ivory and something. And Dove has body wash now, foam body wash for kids with affirmations on them and little colored children that look like Sage. And he's excited to bathe now. Can I tell you?
Wonderful.
He's turning into
Wonderful.
the
See,
shower,
look at that.
wetting up the place.
Look
So
at God.
so I'm like, just take it in strides. Everything is a journey. Some things you feel like it can half kill you, but because
Yeah.
potty training had me on a, oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Don't
Can
don't
you
don't
send me a
don't talk about
virtual?
that
Can you send me
because
a virtual drink, please?
don't talk about that. Okay.
Potty
So
training had me
how
feeling like this. Me, how I be to work and planning and events and doing stuff from scratch and doing brand plans and campaigns, and I can. Potty training.
get this potty
Girl,
training.
I was feeling like little incompetent 2020. That's how I was feeling. Because like, why? Why it take a year for me to potty train this child? Like,
Yeah.
why?
That's just what it
Why?
is.
And when I went to the school and I told him, I said, I know it's challenging for him at school, but because they wanted him to be potty trained for K3, and he
Yeah.
entered K3 and he still wasn't potty trained. So I said, I know this is challenging for you guys, but I'm really doing my best at home to get him fully potty trained, and I'm trying, and I hope it happens soon. So his teacher looked at me like, Miss Munnings, what are you talking about? And I said, well, him using the bathroom and being able to say when he wants to go to the bathroom, and especially
Yeah.
number 2 and all that stuff. And she was like, Miss Munnings, I don't know what you're talking about, but Sage goes to the bathroom at school. Tanya, let me tell you how I was like, okay, they'll do it. I park outside that school that day. I was like, okay, all right. fix your business. Good for you. We came home
Uh-huh.
and I said, do you need to use the bathroom? No, ma'am. I said, you sure you don't need to use the bathroom? No, ma'am. All right, cool. I'm watching him in the front room, wiggling because they have this thing that they would do.
Yes.
I'm like,
Yes.
"Oh, I need to go to the bathroom. And I
Yes.
said, Sage, do you need to use the bathroom? No, ma'am. No, ma'am. But he's still
Yes.
moving his legs, doing the little funky
Right.
chicken, and and sometimes they even touch their privates, like it's a sign because you gotta go. So I took him and sat in the bathroom with him. He was on the potty. I just sat on the toilet. This dude ain't budge. He did not budge. And he went back into the front room. And I come out and I see him bent over, pooping. Well, child, I cleaned him up, but I told him, I said, let me tell you something. When you go to school with Miss Miller,
Yeah.
you poop and you pee.
Yeah.
I said, you make this your last day in here. Got me stressed out. Got this him. You see it. I'm not 40 yet. This is him. So I'm like, you got me in here stressed out, getting grades.
That's your glitter.
I'm researching songs, poems, trying to help through this potty training. And they tell me you've been potty trained for months. Well, child, he look at me like, uh-oh.
When your friends watch this episode, they are going to
just been found out.
When your friends watch this episode, they are going to laugh. Okay? They are going to laugh.
They know. Tonya, I was like Googling, reading books. His pediatrician is Dr. Remy. I said, what's happening? And she's so calm. And I just
we love Dr. Remy, yes.
I love her. She's so calm and she's just like, well, give him time. And I'm like, sis, time? 355 days is past and he's not. Every child is different. I'm like, Dr. Remy, I hear you, but
however,
it's K3. He's a big boy. Yeah. He has a backpack. He is matching luncheon now. He needs to party. And so 1 or 2 times we had, a little off situations. And I did chastise and I did discipline in 1 or 2 instances because he's very smart. And you've met him and you've had a conversation with him.
Yeah.
He's very intelligent. And so 1 or 2 times he intentionally, because he was watching Paw Patrol or whatever, he intentionally pooped in the spot. And so we had a little tap here and there.
Yeah.
But can I tell you, when he got it, I was like, oh. I was like, praise Jesus, because I'm tired.
Yeah.
And pull-ups expensive, girl.
I know.
I was buying pull-ups for almost 2-3 years, and pull-ups are expensive.
Very. They're more expensive than Pampers.
They are. And so when he got it, I was like, yeah, you get it. Yeah. And my man was walking past me. We'd be watching a movie together, and he just gets up, and I'm like, okay. And I said, I tested him. I said, where are you going? To the bathroom.
Okay.
You 3, don't talk to me like that.
So to backtrack, how have you set boundaries in parenting?
So I guess if we go back to his dad, even though he wasn't active and all that stuff, the times that he did act, I would just let him go. Because I never wanted to be that. I never wanted to be seen as like, spiteful or bitter or anything. And so I would always let him go. And then I realized, I'm saying, okay, he's doing this like couple months in, few and far apart. So this is obviously when you miss your son or whatever. And I had to say to myself, this ain't, it's not going to fly like this. Partner, it ain't gonna fly like this. So there are certain things that he requires. And are you willing to step up to that plate? You are not just going to be getting this random, I want to see my son today. And then, y'all go out, have your little fun, take your little pictures. Hi, how is he sleeping? How is he eating? Do you even know what school he attends? So let's get serious here. And so at one point he started and then it stopped. And so I just, and then he came back again and it was like this in and out. So I put my foot down and I was like, hey, listen, you either in or you out. And if you're not sure what it's going to be, then call or message or let's have a communication when you are sure. And so that went on for like 2.5 years, Tonya. Like nothing, just nothing. Now he would see him, but it was in some instances, I think it would be by default as well, because his mother would ask, and I'm like, sure. And then at some point too, for me, and I want women to understand this, yes, you want to enforce certain things when there is, when you should be committed because you didn't make this child by yourself. So the
Right.
child has financial, physical, spiritual, emotional the support is required. And so when that's not being given, sometimes we have this tug and pull. But for me, I was like, Michaela, you were with this child 24/7. Sometimes you do need this break. So even though he may not be financially contributing, you may have to send him this weekend just for a mental state of mind. Don't be no fool because you're already doing everything financially. You're already the nurturer. You're already, we go to church every Sunday and you're building this routine and you're building this young little boy who's going to someday be a man. And so you don't want to do certain things that's going to come and hit you back in the face. And so I was very flexible with him going to visit, but as he got older, I said, listen, this is what it requires. And he started up again. And so for me, he's not consistent in his support. And what support looks like for me is not just money. Some women are okay if the man just pays for everything. That's no, I'm raising a boy. Maybe if I had a girl, I would have had a more relaxed approach with his father because I'm a woman. So I know what to do, how to do it, when to do it. Even when it came to potty training, I'm like, sir, I can't whip it out and show him how to pee. This is something you should be doing. Every time I went to the barber, Tanya, unless it was a lady that had very low hair or bald hair, I was the only mother, for some reason, the only mother at that particular time in the barber shop.
Wow.
And I'm like, this should be a father-son bonding experience. So, but I was complaining so much and making note of everything in my mind. And can I tell you the day? I don't know which day it was, but when I woke up and I was like, free yourself from this man and chains of him not being there. When I woke up and I acted and operated in my mommy capacity without why he ain't doing this, and look, now this thing is $200 and he ain't even giving me 100 or nothing. Girl, when I started to look and be like, I'm swiping and the card going through, I was like, sister girl, God is providing, the money is there, and you can't be worried about the fact that what he isn't doing. Every time he does not show up, my ATM card is not affected and Sage's day is not affected. So give God thanks and keep it moving. And so he came in and out about, once or twice throughout this because he'll be 5 in September. So in the 5 years is 60 months, Tanya. If I could tell you that I had 10 good months of support from him financially, I would be telling you, I'd be exaggerating. And so for me, I'm just like, Lord, I thank you every single day. I thank you for my job. I thank you for my business. I thank you for provision, because a lot of times you have the non-support from a father or a mother, because it could be either parent, and then you don't have no resources either. So you big mad both ways, because you ain't getting no break. You ain't getting nothing. And then you don't physically have it. And you have to look this sweet little child who did not ask to be here in the eye and say, okay, yeah, baby, everybody in your class is participating in the fun day, but you're going to have to go in your uniform. And so every day we wake up and there's just more and more. I feel like the woman who, when the oil was replenished in the Bible, because she was able to bake, she used her last bit of oil and baked that cake for Elijah, and her oil every day she opened the cupboard. And I'm just like, whoo, okay, fish, steak, chicken. And every day I keep that mindset up, and we pray for him. That's important too. We pray for him because it was at first, when I started to teach him how to say his prayers, he would be like, and God bless daddy, and girl, I used to do a little like, he bless because daddy bless you, so I just being honest here. I used to be like, girl, why are you praying? And then sometimes I used to even open my eye at that part. But I had to girl.
You had to let it go.
I had to let it go. And especially as I'm like, you are too mature in Christ to be letting this small thing affect you like this. And so we pray for him. I hope that one day he comes around. Sage is an amazing child, very active and hyper at times. And he makes me talk a lot. But he's currently in baseball at Freedom Farm. He's in karate. He's doing very well in his school. And when the train is moving, we chewing, and
Yeah.
we're moving. So when his dad decides that, this is going to be the day that I want to be a full-time father, we're here. And the number hasn't changed. Don't show
Yeah.
up without calling them. Don't.
Ah,
Because there
no,
might be
that's
one of little
great.
dates or something. So,
Yeah. So let's talk about 2023, because we know that, or for those that don't know, 2023 was your defining year. And one of the ways I described you was a helper. Like, you have the gift of help. And so sometimes you find that you give and give and give, and people take and take
yeah,
and take. And by the time you would have filled someone up, you
empty
are
cup.
now depleted. And so you found, even in your personal life, or as a woman, as an individual, you had to set boundaries there, because it wasn't good for your spiritual health.
Mhm.
Because giving access, to everyone, we see it all the time. It's heavy on social media, like
Mhm.
giving people access to you. Giving everyone access to you is not the best
It's,
thing.
it's poor spiritual hygiene. That's what
Yeah.
most of the influencers say. It's poor spiritual hygiene. And so, yeah, um, I I had to kind of, and this is over time, because I would literally, I'm just, that person that you could contact for any resource. Like, I have friends who would just be like, hey, what can I get from my husband? Or what can I get from my boyfriend for his birthday? This is what I got last year, and you're really good at this stuff. So, or
Yeah.
whatever. I have friends who would even say, hey, I can transfer you the money. His
You
birthday.
get it.
You get
Yeah.
it. You put it. And so people would be like, where's a good restaurant for lunch? Um, how do you do this? How do you do that? And I was constantly just in that mode of giving and sharing and helping and supporting and assisting. And sometimes I find, like, let's just say, for example, I remember there was one time that I had to discipline Sage, and listen, that was one of them days. He get it. He
Yeah.
got it. And so I shouted, and I was just so overexerted, because I had spoken to him on this so many times, and he was clear on what he should and should not do. He even recited
Yeah.
that to me. So I knew that you knew what you were doing. And
Yeah.
so I had to deal with that. I had just finished disciplining him, and I was still hype. When that phone rang and my girlfriend asked me for what she needed, I was like, hey, okay, this is, and I'm like, that's not healthy.
No.
That's not healthy. Because
No, because you just finished.
and then I was up here.
Yeah.
And I literally was like, okay, hey, yeah, I'll send it to you. Give me a few minutes. And in a few minutes, I sent it to her. And I was like, first thing is, Sage is watching. So, Miss,
Yeah.
you just shout at me. You just,
And then,
while I deserved it. But
yeah.
how come Auntie
So and so
Tanya
called.
gets,
Yeah.
hey, girl. So I was like, first of all, that's them two twins, bi and polar.
Uh-huh.
That it's not good, and it's not healthy, because in that moment I needed a break after just chastising Sage. So there were a couple of things that could have happened. One, I could have just not taken the call. You don't have to answer the
Yeah.
phone every time it rings.
Yeah.
Two, I could have taken the call and I could say, hey, Tanya, listen, right now I'm just trying to deal with something, but give me a few minutes, or just allow me to finish with this, and I'll call you
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Or I could have, well, either which one of those things would have been doable or practical. And
Yeah.
so for me, I was starting to be like, boy, you just have such a big heart that you just always willing to bounce. Like, people has messaged me 12 o'clock in the night, girl, I don't have no reservations, and I forget why why my wife's birthday tomorrow, what to get her, where could we go? And I'm literally like, okay, let me get to it. Find me something. Okay, here, there's something that you could get tomorrow. Tell you where to go. I already messaged the girl. She'll have it wrapped. And I'm like, girl,
Wow,
like,
Michaela.
yes. And so that is just, it's like a superpower of sorts. I can't
Yeah.
explain it to you, but
Yeah.
even when I was in high school, when we had stuff that needed to be done in the class, a class party, or some type of, I was always the organizer.
The
And so
person.
that just, yeah, the planner, the organizer. Even in my family, when they want to do something, a reunion, a family dinner, a trip, Michaela will get the stuff together. I remember in 2013, I had two girlfriends that I had met a few years before. And so we all became mutual friends. And
Mhm.
I wanted to go to I think it's 2013, 2014, somewhere around there. I wanted to go to Jazz in the Gardens, and I was just talking to one of them about it, and she was like, "I've never been. That sounds like such a great idea." And so she asked the other lady, and they were all like, "Okay, is it okay if we go together?" We had never traveled together, and you know how that could be sometimes with women. And so I was like, "Yeah, I mean, you two have never shown me anything different but love, and and I think our friendship to date is we could travel." And so I would have booked all the tickets and I gave them the price. They sent me the money. But when we came to the airport, I remember having a manila envelope for everyone. And there was like a peelable sticker that you could lift up and had your name and it said, "Are we there yet?" And they were so super impressed. And I was like, but
Wow.
it's just me.
This come natural to me.
It's just me. So we had an itinerary. We didn't stick to it, but we had a plan. So everything was in there. I had a copy of the hotel accommodations, the car, the tickets, because I didn't want nobody to feel like I just tell you send me $500
Right.
and I'm a very transparent person in that regard. And so I had the receipts for everything. I had a page printed out of nearby malls and shopping plazas and the addresses, just in case I don't know, maybe we split up or.
Yeah, Michaela. That is organizing.
That was so
That is
amazing.
top care.
And there was like, "Girl, when you have time to do this?" Because
that is top care.
I was like, "I did this last night," and they was like, "You ain't just do this the night before." I was like, "Yeah, I printed everything, but I mean, putting together the envelope, making a sticker, and printing it, and I just thought the sticker would have been a nicer touch than just giving it to you in your hand." I got them in an envelope.
Agreed.
They was like, "Okay, this is wild. This is crazy. And if this is what you could do like this, you need to monetize this." So for years, I was doing hosting friends' birthdays, dinner parties, baby showers, and people are like, "How much?" And I'm like, "Girl, use my friend." And then I got like a couple of years ago, I was like,
Yeah. And so how have you been able to set boundaries, considering that you're such a giver?
So one of the things I do is something that I mentioned to you earlier. If I'm just not in the space, sometimes I don't answer the phone.
Okay.
I don't take the call. And that's okay. And I've explained it to a few of my girlfriends, and they were quite fine with it. Even in some instances, I've started moving the phone a little way from the bed in the night, because you can't. I'm a mother, and there could be an emergency with anybody else at any given time. And so if it's where it's a little distance from you, then you'd have to actually get up out of the bed and walk. And by that time, you're awake or alert to some degree. But I stopped putting it right next to the bed, because then I found that I was just not sleeping. I was scrolling, thinking mine is coming up with a creative concept for Bear Fest or something I have to do at 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
And so for me, at some point I was like, okay, move the phone away. So I started to make little small steps. And then everything for women, I think we need to realize it doesn't have to be an announcement. If this is what you're doing, you do it. And then if it doesn't work, you tweak it or whatever. But you don't have to tell people, "Oh, hey guys, don't call me every day after 10. If that's your cut off, then you just don't answer after 10. And so I think with boundaries, a big issue for women, our mouth is a part of the boundary, because we cause ourselves a lot of unnecessary drama that goes outside of whatever boundary we have, because we speak too much and we speak prematurely. So nobody would be in your business as much if you ain't telling it as much. And so in setting the boundary, I had to learn to tame my tongue, because I was so excited about so many things. I'd be like, hey, I remember I had a whole little friend soiree gathering. I think it was it last year? Either last year or 2021.
Yeah.
Just to announce that, I had gotten the okay and everything for this condo. But during the process with the bank and dealing with the lawyers, at some part in the process, it faltered and it didn't work out. And so I had this whole little thing. I invited my 5 girlfriends. We went to Mandara Spa. We popped the bottles, and in anticipation of the new condo, and it didn't happen, Tanya. And so, not to say that me announcing it is, but you just never know, because you don't know who's pulling down and attacking the dream and the goal before it happens. And so for me, a lot of what we need to understand in boundaries is learning how to just shut up. Keep quiet.
Yeah.
Be quiet. Keep it to yourself. Keep it between you and Jesus. And that's a good a good start to have, because I know sometimes we want to vent, but you know what I like? That little feature in my phone, the notes. I have seen so many people, Tanya, and I this is one thing that I was like, Lord, I thank you, you deliver me. I've seen
Yeah.
so many women do the blast my baby daddy post or blast my child's father post on Facebook. Girl, I just be like, sis, come.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tonya, to this day, I am so glad that I never stooped to that
Wow.
level. But there
Wow.
have been times when I wanted to, based on something that he did, but I
Yeah.
wrote it in my notes in my phone. And when I got over it, I deleted the note. So I wrote it just as I would have typed it
Write
to
it
him in a
down.
text, or just as I would have posted it on Facebook. I typed
Yeah.
it in my notepad in my phone. And when God delivered me or brought me out of that, and I felt strong to embrace it, I deleted that note because I don't need that memory. I don't need that constant. But there was sometimes I even went to the note and added to it, and that's how I knew that I was healed from
Yeah.
that. But we gotta be bigger than that. Even men too. I've seen some men blast the child's mother. Like, that's not cute, and it's not. And listen to me, you could remove that when you grow, or when
But
you
it's already
heal.
gone out.
You don't
I
know
mean,
how much people done screenshot that.
correct.
You don't know.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
so I'm so glad that I've never gotten to that on my WhatsApp, on my Facebook. And even if you see
Wow.
me post a meme, sometimes people got to grow up. That ain't about me. It may
Yeah.
be
I
something
just
that I
like
saw
it.
was interesting,
Or it's funny.
whatever, or was funny, or maybe I did go through it, but maybe I went through it in 2015. But this is the first time that I'm seeing the meme, so I'm
Correct.
sharing it for someone who could grow from it. Like, why you
Correct.
think everybody got to be? Not everyone is petty and subliminal. Like,
Yeah.
no, not everyone is.
Yeah. Wow. No, I definitely agree with what you're saying. I agree. Also with your setting boundaries.
Mhm.
Just as a woman, obviously as a parent, and obviously like personal boundaries are everything, because well, you can't pour from an empty cup, right? And
Yeah,
if you as
cannot.
a giver, if you are always in a constant state of giving and taking the call and doing and making the reservations or making the connections for
Mhm.
other people, then when are you going to, for yourself,
Mhm.
when are you going to be able to replenish, and who is going to fill your cup? Because more importantly, that is something, I think that's something that we fail to do as
Mhm.
women,
Mhm.
as mothers for sure, but as women I feel like sometimes we fail to do that. But I know that we will definitely have to have you back,
Listen,
because
Tonya,
because
there's
that
there's
time
so
is
much to
too short.
unpack, right?
Yeah, it's a
So
lot to
there's
unpack.
there's just so much to unpack, because
Yeah,
in every I think I would have shared this with you previously, in every capacity, there's a different me that's required.
for sure.
The Michaela that needs to handle Sage is different. The Michaela that needs to handle my job, my 9 to 5, is different. The Michaela
Yeah,
that needs to handle my business is different. And so there's just so much to share, so much nuggets, so much to unpack.
sure.
I'd be happy to come back and chat with you.
For
But
sure.
now, Tony, you're gonna have to have us in person again.
Yes. Oh,
I enjoyed
absolutely.
those episodes at Bahama Handprints where you was toasting with those women. So I did not get my glass of wine. So I need to be in person the next time so we could toast. We could, just I think
Absolutely.
it's different when you're in person too, though.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Sometimes
And
you can get
COVID.
in the moment and the emotional, you know,
Yeah.
we could laugh more, we could do a bit
Yes.
more. And so, but I really want the wine.
Yeah. And COVID taught us that being in person is absolutely so much better. So
Mhm.
I think what I'll do is when we start those episodes or restart those episodes, we'll definitely have like a round table type of setup.
Okay. I
So
was
like
gonna ask you if you do like for like on a monthly basis, if you do like a
yeah,
reunion or something of the persons that were in
sure.
that month.
For
That'd probably
sure. For
be
sure.
kind of cool. Because
So
we
we
need, we
will
need to we need to expand our network. And some of the persons on
absolutely.
on your flyer, I was like, I don't know her, but she looks familiar,
Yeah.
but I don't really know her. And so
Yeah.
it's always good to broaden that network. But this has been
Exactly. And
listen.
that's one of the compliments actually that someone paid me recently. They're like, I don't know those women on the show, but I am more than happy to acquaint myself, to learn a little
Mhm.
bit more about their story, etc. So I'm happy that we were able to have you share your story. And so
Anytime.
when the opportunity presents itself, please come back and share
For
some
sure.
more insight, drop some more nuggets. But as it stands right now,
Yeah, I know we
um,
probably went over.
we will, and that's okay, but we will take these nuggets and we will definitely explore them some more, and we will do a deep dive
Okay.
on another
Oh,